Hello everyone and welcome back again to week 2 of Tiddler. So last week we started this book and we read half of it, and it's about this little fish here called Tiddler who is really good at making up stories, but he got into a little bit of trouble and that's where we had to stop last week. So this week we're going to carry on and read the rest of the book, and it's by Julia Donaldson and the pictures are by Axel Scheffler. So look, we looked at all the different kinds of fish, how they moved. And this week we're going to be looking at storytelling and how we can pass that on to other people in our dances. So that's Tiddler. First of all, we're going to do a warm-up. So come into the space with me. And we're going to do a warm-up this week where we are going to use different parts of the room. So I'm going to call out different words, and when I call out that word, you have to rush to that part of the room and stay there as quick as you can. Okay, if you can touch a wall or something, that would be great. But if not, and you're going to knock something over, don't worry, you can just stand in that place. So, if I call out the word fish, you have to run forwards as close as you can. Okay, and this is our space, fish. Good, come back. If I say octopus, you have to run to this side. Okay, hopefully your room's a little bit bigger than mine. Good, octopus. So we have fish, we have octopus. Good. We have shell. If I say shell, you have to run to the back of the room. Good. So shell is the back of the room. And if I say bubbles, you have to run to this side of the room. Okay. So let's go through those again. So the first one is fish. Run to the front of the room. Good. Octopus. This side of the room. Okay, shell, this side of the room. You don't have to run backwards, you can turn around like that. Good, and bubbles is this side of the room. Good, now if I say anchovies, which are tiny little fish and they swim around together in a big ball, okay, you have to go into the middle of the room and you have to lie down on the floor like that, okay, so that's anchovies. Now that's too easy if I do it in order, so I'm going to mix it all up. So I'm going to say, first one is going to be bubbles. So bubbles, go. Well done. Okay, I'm going to say fish. Well done. I'm going to say bubbles. Back we go. I'm going to say octopus. Don't bang your head. Octopus, good. I'm going to say shell. There we go. Good. And fish. Hello. Right to the front. And anchovies. Quick, right down into the middle of your room and lie down in a big star shape. Good. Okay. And fish. Good. Octopus. Well done. And shell. Good. Anchovies. Well done. Line nice and flat and all the way up to do bubbles. So this side of the room. Good. Well done. So that gets our spatial awareness around the room, our different parts of the room. Good. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to call out some words and you are going to create some movement, whatever you like, you think shows that word. So the first word is going to be a word we've used already, and that's the word shell. Now this is brilliant because shells come in lots of different shapes and sizes, don't they? And actually I can see from Tiddler here, look, we've got lots of different kinds of shells. Actually that looks like a pot to me, but we've got lots of different shells. See if you can look in that picture and see if you can see any. Let's have a quick look. In here as well. Look, can you see? All in here we have lots of different kinds of shapes and sizes. Now this is a good one. That's like a sort of little flat clam shell. We can get very pointy shells. We can get curvy round shells on the floor. Okay, so have a little look in there. Whoops, see what you can find. Okay, so when I say shell, I want you to think of any shell you like. So it can be very pointy, okay? It can be very small and round. whatever you like. Okay, so that is the word shell. So show me your shell. Off we go. Good. Okay, the second word is eel. Ooh, now eels are very bendy and very wiggly. So I'm going to use my hands and I'm going to lead like this all around the space. But you can move however you like. You could use your whole body. You could wriggle around on the floor if you like. Wriggle, 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 wriggle. However you like to move like an eel. Ooh, good. Can you show me some bubbles? Ooh. So you can start on the floor and go. Okay, you might be floating on a bubble. You might be full of bubbles. Okay, you might be one big bubble floating around the space. Very slow in the water. Big and round. Good. Can you show me a gigantic, enormous whale? Wow. Now I might just do the head of the whale, which is sort of this shape, isn't it? So I might do that shape. Or you could do a beautiful sort of tail of a whale, couldn't you? The sort of tail goes like that. And it could sort of move. So have a think. How would you show a whale? You could show a really big shape. Just showing the scale of a whale. Just showing how big these beautiful animals are. Good. Can you show me a net? Because when we left Tiddler last time, he got caught in a net, didn't he? So what are we going to do? We did this last week, didn't we? We showed a big shape and then we got captured. So show me a big net. Capture, good. And our last one, can you show me a big crashing wave? So we're going to go over, up, 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 up. We're going to go and waves break. So at the top of the wave, we're going to go crashing down to the floor. Good. Let's try that again. Really high, up, 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 crash. Right down to the floor. Good. So those are our words. Very nice. I hope you're feeling a little bit warmer now. So if you remember, we looked through this book last week, and I'll quickly whiz through what we went through. So this is Tiddler, and he likes to make up stories. And because he makes up stories, he's always late for school. So this is his teacher, Miss Skate. And these are all his class friends here in the classroom. She's always saying, Tiddler's late, because he's always making up stories. And he makes up all kinds of stories, but I think they're quite good, actually. Look, he dreams he gets captured by by a squid, a giant squid, but then a turtle helps him escape. And then what happens is a story gets passed on to all these fish and all these sea creatures, and it gets passed on through the sea. So we got up to here, where he was swimming around on a Wednesday, swimming to school. And it says at 9 o'clock on Wednesday, Tiddler was dawdling, dreaming up a story, his tallest story yet. Lost inside his story, he didn't see the fishing boat. He didn't hear the fisherman. He didn't spot the net. Uh-oh. Meanwhile, in the schoolroom, Miss Skate called the register. Little John Dory, yes, Miss Skate. Leopard fish, yes, miss. Leaf fish, yes, miss. Tiddler, Tiddler, Tiddler's late. Uh-oh. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, still no Tiddler. 12 o'clock at lunchtime, where could he be? Far away, the fishermen hauling in their fishing nets. This one's just a Tiddler. We'll throw him back to sea. So that's lucky. So he actually escapes. Because the fishermen think he's so small, they throw him back in the sea. Tiddler was lost in the middle of the ocean where strange lights shimmered. Look at these guys. This is really deep down in the sea. And strange fish flew. He swam around in circles. He shivered in the seaweed. But then he heard a story that he knew. Tiddler rode a seahorse. Tiddler met a mermaid. Tiddler met a turtle who saved him from a squid. Tiddler found a shipwreck. Tiddler found a treasure chest. Oh no, he didn't. Oh yes, he did. Tiddler peeped out and saw a shoal of anchovies. Excuse me, can you tell me where you've heard that tale? We heard it from a shrimp, but we don't know where she heard it. And they took him to the shrimp, who said, I heard it from a whale. I heard it from a herring. I heard it from an eel. I heard it from a lobster. I heard it from a seal. I heard it from a starfish. I heard it from a place. The place said, just a minute, don't I recognise your face? I'm Tiddler, said Tiddler. I'm tracking down my story. The place replied, I heard it from my neighbour Granny Dory. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, still no Tiddler. Nearly home time, where could he be? Just as the fishes were finishing their lessons. In swam Tiddler at 3:30. Sorry I'm late, but I swam into a fishing net. I managed to escape, and I swam away and hid. I was lost, I was scared, but a story led me home again. Oh no, it didn't. Oh yes, it did. It's just another story, said leopardfish and leaffish. Just a silly story, said butterfish and blue. It isn't just a story, said little John Dory. And he told it to a writer friend who wrote it down for you. There we go. So Tiddler's story actually saved him and brought him all the way home again, didn't it? Fantastic. Look at all that sea life. And here we've got eels, we've got little squids, we've got coral, we've got fish. And this is a diver, and this is how they breathe with the helmet underwater. So, it was so hard choosing what fish we could dance about today. But I thought it'd be quite cool to look at these ones. Now, the further down you go into the sea, the less sunlight there is. Because there's less sunlight, it's very, very dark. And these fish look very, very weird and creepy because they've sort of evolved very, very deep down. So they have very big eyes. So the amount of light that's underwater, they can let in as much light as possible, even though there isn't much. So this fish here is very clever. He's got a light here. So any other little fish swimming along can see the light. And as they swim up to the light, they go, ooh, that's interesting. And just as they're about to swim up to it, he can go chomp, and he has his lunch. There we go, so he's very cool. So I thought, ooh, we'll look at him. And then we've got a very wiggly one here. We've got some kind of crazy little squid things here, but it's got funny ears. We've got teeny tiny ones as well, like flicky little shrimps, which I quite like. And look at these guys with really big eyes, trying to let in as much light as possible. So I thought, right, we'll look at these deep sea fish, these deep sea creatures that Tiddler saw, and we're going to make up a dance about them. So my first move is going to be our fish with a light called an anglerfish. So our light is going to be hanging here. He's got quite a big round body, but he's got this light that hangs over here and it shines bright. But he's hidden in the dark, so when the fish come along, he can then grab the fish. So you've got our light hanging here, good. So we're going to go light, light, light. Now the other one I quite like is this fish here with the jaws. Look at these jaws. Can you see these? So he's a bit like that. Ooh. So I thought we could show these jaws with our fingers. So we've got our anglerfish here, and then we're going to go scoop, 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 scoop. So it's like jaws that's sort of coming underneath. Good, so big jaws. So we've got our anglerfish, we've got our big jawed fish. That's right. And then we've got our flicky shrimp. So I thought we could sit on the floor, flick our feet, and that's how they travel around in the water. Flick, flick, flick. So this is clever. We're going to flick our feet very fast and flick our hands very slow. So that's a bit of coordination. Fast feet, slow hands. Okay, and the last one we're going to do is the fish with big eyes. So I thought I'd make a bit of a sort of quirky shape, and we're just going to go 1, 2. We're going to close our eyes, and when we open our eyes, we're going to open our hands like we're showing big circles. Flick, flick, flick. Good, and we're letting in all that light, a very little bit of light that's down there in the darkness. Okay, so we're going to go fish with the light hanging here. Good. We're going to go big jaws, jaw, 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 jaw. We're going to go on the floor, and we're going to go fast flicks, slow flicks. Good. And we're going to show our big eyes. Open, 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 open. Good. And that is our deep sea fish phrase. Okay, so if you want to, you can pause this, you can wind it back, and then you can have a little practice, or you can dance with me now. I found some quite cool deep sea spacey music, so we can do it to that. Here we go. Ready? Should we try that once more? Let's go. So that's our very deep, dark, mysterious, very far down deep sea fish dance. I had to come up with a better title for that one, I think. So I thought, I liked that idea, but then Tiddler actually made it home, didn't he? Because he passed on his story to all these different sea creatures. So I love that idea. So I thought what we could do is have our story, and it's like you've got it in your hands. And what we're going to do is we're going to pass on this story. So we imagine you're passing it on to a friend who's going to pass it on to someone else who's going to pass it on to someone else. So we're going to pass it on by going over, under, and around. Now, if you're with someone else, this is brilliant because you can work with each other. So you can go over each other, under each other, and around each other. And that works really beautifully if you're with someone else. If you're on your own like me, we can do just as a good job. So we will have to imagine that we're going over something, under something, and around something. Okay? So I'm imagining I'm going over a beautiful coral reef. And we know a coral reef is a living thing, so we don't want to break it or touch it, do we? So I'm imagining I'm holding my story, okay, and I'm going to go over this coral reef. So I'm going to step over, and I'm going to go right over. Don't touch it. I might lose my balance a bit. To here, good. Next thing I'm going to do is go right under something. Now, if you're with someone else, maybe they can make a shape, and they could go under you. Or if you're on your own, you can just imagine, I'm imagining I'm going under a big bridge of seaweed. So I'm going to go under, I might even go upside down, have a look at it. Wow. Okay, but I've still got my story here because I'm passing it on. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is go around something. So I'm imagining there's a huge rock on the seabed, and I'm going to roll round that rock. So I'm going to go roll, roll, roll all the way around. So I've gone over my coral reef, I've gone under my seaweed, and I've gone around my rock. Okay, so if you're with someone else, you could go, someone could make a shape and you could go around them. Or if you're on your own like me, you can imagine something in the middle. So let's try that again. Remember, your story is here with you all the time. Okay, I've got a special shell box and I've put mine there on my hip so it's nice and safe, and it's going to go on a journey. So I'm going to go over my coral reef. Don't touch it. Good. Well done. Over. We're going to go under. So I'm going to go under my seaweed bridge. Have a look. Good. And then I'm going to go around my big rock. Roll, roll, roll. All the way back. Check my story's still there. It is. It's nice and safe. Good. So, shall we try that with some music? Here we go. Over, under, around. Let's go. Once more, let's go. How did you get on? Was that good? Did you go over, under and around? Well done. So the last thing I thought we'd do is add those two things together. So Tiddler goes on his adventure. He sees the crazy deep sea fish. Then he comes back and he follows his story all the way home. So we're going to add those two things together, those two phrases. So we've got our deep sea fish phrase. So we start with the light fish, the anglerfish, the jaws, the flick, good, the big eyes, good, and then we're going to go straight into our over, our under, and our around. Okay, so we're going to add those two together. So we've got the deep sea fish phrase and then the over, under, around phrase. Okay, if you need a minute to practice that, because that's quite a lot to put together, pause me, okay, and then have a practice, and then we can try it with music. If you're ready, feeling confident, then we'll go straight ahead with music, okay? Right, let's go. So it's your starting position, here we go. How did you get on? Good. I hope you still had your story at the end. Did you check it? I checked mine in my special shell box and it was there, so that's good. Good, well done. Oh, that was really brilliant. I love doing Tiddler. I love the sea and things like that, and what's under the sea, what's on top of the sea. It's fascinating. We could do a whole term just on the sea, I think. I might do that actually. Right, so we're going to do a little cool down. And what we're going to do is, I like the idea of the word bubble, so what we're going to do is some slow motion bubbles to cool down, calm our breathing, calm our minds. Our bodies have worked really, really hard today. So I'm going to put on some lovely music, and I want you to pretend that you are in a huge bubble, And we are just bobbing around. You can be in the sea, you can be on top of the sea, and we're just going to move around the space, imagining we are in this big bubble, okay? And how you'd feel, you can make it smaller, you can make it bigger, whatever you like. This is your cool down, okay? So let's try that with some music. Upside down in our bubble. Well done. Try and keep your bubble shape like you're holding a big beach ball. Good, and let's go the other way. Good, well done. That's small again. Good. And you do a little roll in your bubble. Did your bubble pop? Mine did. Now I'm back in the real world. Well, thank you so much for dancing with me today. I really enjoyed dancing about Tiddler. Next week I have another Julia Donaldson book, and it's a good one. So I hope to see you then, and we can do some more dancing. Thank you.